Joining me right now is one championship lightweight, Ariel Sexton. Welcome to Kumite Radio. What's going on, man?
How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, first off, I wanted to ask you. You haven't fought since I think July of 2016. What have you been doing since then? Because it's been a while.
Yeah, unfortunately, that last fight I had some damage to my face, so I lost like partial paralysis on the right side of my face. I didn't want to fight right away because I was worried it would get worse. It was a very uncomfortable feeling, and then that took me about 6 months to kind of get rid of it. It's still a little bit there, and then just the way we train, we always train to the best, to the most extreme. And I ended up tearing some ligaments in my knee. So I needed to take another 6 months to fix my knee, and that's why it's been over a year to get back into the old cage.
Wow. So you went through some adversity in 2017.
Every fight, every year, I go through adversity. That's part of my that's my middle name. That's what makes me stronger. Adversity.
For sure. So in 2017, you signed a brand new contract, 6 fights, which is huge. In the lightweight division, stacked right now. You got so many good guys fighting for one championship. Where do you see yourself? You've been out for a while, but where do you see yourself in the division right now?
I see myself as the number one contender, the most dangerous guy in that whole bracket, and this fight's gonna prove it. So I have to be positive, optimistic, and the only reason why I don't have that title is because I haven't fought for the title yet. So that's where I'm going. I'm going for the title. Go big or go home.
Talking about the title, you're fighting a guy, Evting. He's already fought for the title in a very close fight. Um, Now, when you face him, what do you see in him as an opponent?
Well, you have to respect your opponents because without your opponent, you don't have a match, you don't have a fight. So we're all pretty much on the same path. We're all very humble, hardworking athletes. Everybody has families. Everybody works really hard. So there's a lot of mutual respect there. But as soon as we get in there, it goes down to instinct. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take over. He's a very dangerous guy. He's an alien, right? They call him the extraterrestrial. So I think he's one of the most dangerous aliens in the whole galaxy. But lucky for me, I deal with all sorts of weird creatures. You know what I'm saying? That's my nickname, Tarzan. I'm the king of the galaxy, king of the jungle. So nothing that I haven't seen before.
Do you believe that you're in a better position than him, in this fight because he's already fought for the title and you haven't fought for the title yet, and there's a new champion of the division, Martin Nguyen? Are you in a better position?
If you start thinking about positions, you're going to get distracted on the task at hand. So I think that I'm just going to think about what I have to deal with in the moment. I'm not sure what he's going to be thinking about. I don't think he's ever fought someone like me. So I'm very excited. I'm excited to get back in the cage. I deserve it. And you're going to see the best version of Ariel come that day.
Have you been following your opponent's career, or do you usually not watch MMA? Because there's a lot of fighters that don't really watch the sport at all.
I honestly don't watch much MMA or jiu-jitsu or anything. I mean, I do it all day long. And when I get home, I want to unwind. And I usually end up watching Animal Planet and comedies and different things. I believe I fought on the same card as him in Singapore where he had a loss. And I've seen some of his fights. I saw that we both fought Kamal Shilarus. So yeah, I mean, I usually don't watch too much tape on my opponents. My corners and my teammates do a lot of that work for me. But you can always evolve and change a little bit. So I decided to check them out.
For sure. Now, in this camp, preparing for Evting, which coaches have you been working with, and have you been going outside of Renzo Gracie to work with other coaches?
So I've trained for this camp. I mean, I'm always fight ready. So I was in Boston for a little while training with Mark Delagrati, and it's a City of Tong Muay Thai school. A lot of very tough UFC fighters in that school. as well as in New York City at Henzo's school. I mean, it's just such a big gym. There's a lot of affiliates, so you get new bodies every day, new guys every day. I train at the Edge Wrestling School in Hoboken, which is the Olympic training facility for the Olympic wrestling team. So there's a lot of wrestlers in there, coaches, and different guys that I get to work with. It's very easy to overtrain here. You know, you can train all day, every day with some of the best guys in the world. So yeah, usually my training is always at the highest level, and usually before a fight, I just get to kind of narrow things down and focus on my task. So I'm in the biggest and the best city in the world for that. So I'm pretty good. I'm feeling good.
You said you've been visiting Hoboken for some wrestling. Is this something you've been doing more recently, or have you always focused on your wrestling?
Yeah, well, wrestling is definitely one of the most important parts of mixed martial arts because you can dictate whether you want to stay on your feet or you can dictate whether you can take the person down. So some guys that I definitely look up to, like Jake Shields and Damian Maya and some jiu-jitsu fighters. I'm a jiu-jitsu fighter, so you got to be able to take the guy down, hold him down, and cause damage and win the fight. So I had some trouble on my feet fighting against Eddie Young, where he had broke my arm in half with a kick in the first 30 seconds. So I definitely don't want to engage with guys that are just so dangerous on their feet. Not that I'm not dangerous on my feet, winning against Roger Huerta by TKO my last fight. But fighting for me is about being efficient, causing damage, and not getting damaged and not getting hurt. So I'm gonna always try to be the most efficient. And jiu-jitsu's always showed that it's the most efficient type of fighting. Everybody wants the home run knockout, but in reality, anybody can take someone down, or people that are good at taking people down and getting submissions is hard, but it's a bit more efficient.
Yeah, with jiu-jitsu, you got one of the greatest minds of the, I guess, 21st century in John Danaher at Renzo Gracie's. Do you work closely with him?
So I've trained at Henzo's school for the last maybe 13 or 14 years, and I've always assisted John's classes. He has a big following now with his death squad with all his grappling guys. I train a lot with Eddie Cummings, the Wolverine, and Jake Shields, and all these amazing grapplers. John's not my head coach. He was only in the Ultimate Fighter. He was in my corner when I was on that show. But I have my coach Daniel Gracie that I believe also is one of the best minds in mixed martial arts as well as jiu-jitsu. So, and then if anything that he can't answer, I have Master Henzo and John's there, and I have a lot of people around me. It's not an individual sport. There's a lot of people that help me become successful. So we'll see, right? I'm just Gary Tonin is signed with ONE FC, and I'm speaking to him and slowly starting to train with Gary Tonin as well. So yeah, there's just amazing. Like I said, there's too many people to mention that I get to work with.
Gary Tonin, you mentioned him. He's gonna make his debut in March, I believe. What do you see when you train with him? Is he that big of a talent to be able to transition to mixed martial arts easily?
There's no easily in mixed martial arts. So we'll have to see. He is I've never met someone who has such a hard work ethic. Like he drills and trains all day, every day, much like myself. And he's also around some of the best guys in the world. He's a lot younger as well. I believe he's only around 24, 25. So, I mean, there's a very bright future there. And you guys all know how good he is as a grappler. So it's kind of like nobody likes to get punched in the face, but you have to accept it. That's what you do. So whether you like it or not is another story. So you just have to accept it and you have to deal with it. So we'll see. I'm 100% fan. We're part of the same team, same family, and I'll encourage and push him, as hard as he needs it.
Now, you're 36 years old. Like you said, the younger generation is coming up. Do you believe right now is your prime? Right now is your time to go and get that title in 2018?
Right now is my time. I wish I had the mindset that I have right now 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, I didn't have half of the techniques that I have, the wrestling base that I have. 10 years ago, I was in too much of a hurry. I was in too much of a rush. I would make mistakes on my own behalf. The losses that I have fighting are not so much the other person dominating me and beating me. They're more so me rushing into things that I didn't have to do. So yeah, I mean, 30 is the new 20. If you take care of your body properly, I definitely take care of my body properly. My metabolic age is 12 years old. So, when they do all the tests on me, they're going to see that I'm an underage. They're going to ask me for ID. I'm definitely not a 36-year-old, and I work with 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds all day long. And people, they don't think I'm 36, because of my personality and because of my energy, and I'm not acting like I give up, where a lot of guys are like, oh, I give up. My life's over. I'm done. I'm too beat. I can't get out of bed or this and that. I'm up early. I get up before my alarm rings every day. I'm waking up my alarm clock. So yeah, I'm pretty driven right now. And I'm all about being in the moment, and everything's starting to fall into place for me. And I just have to come up and hit that home run. Do what I've trained to do.
Now, speaking of the mental game, you're a student of psychology. Now, how has that helped you over the years being a student? Because, a lot of guys, they just go to other people, for, I guess, mind coaching or whatever. But what is your approach?
Well, I mean, I've been very interested in this subject for a long time. And I learned this lesson after obviously being in situations which is so stressful, and actually losing because of my mindset. So having to go down and understand yourself and understand what you're doing, is 99% of what's going on around us, and how we take that in and how we react to circumstances. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things where all my younger students and my teammates and my friends, they come up to me and they're always asking me questions about that kind of stuff. So I usually, my own advice to them is what I'm taking in, and I don't need to overthink things. Simplicity is always the best. So I try to use act it like a meditation where you're blocking out your thoughts and you're just kind of neutral. And I'm very much animalistic, where I come into my instinct, where I know that as soon as there's a confrontation, I will turn on. I will become that jaguar or the lion or the dragon that's sleeping. So I don't really have to think about it anymore. So yeah, my friends in Costa Rica, they always call me the Zen master. Just because of how calm under pressure. Plus, I've had a lot of things in my life that's a lot bigger deal than going through a fight. So going through a fight's pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, psychology is all of the sport. That's all. That's all of what it is. And you can have good fights and bad fights. And you have to just learn from it. You have to evolve from it.
Now, on February 23rd in Myanmar against Evting, what can we expect from you? Are we going to expect a new transformed version of you, or are we going to just expect an upgraded version of you against your opponent?
It's hard for me to see myself as evolved. I know I've evolved because of the people around me. They tell me, man, you're getting better at this, or you're doing that. For me, when I look in the mirror, I kind of just, I'm very I do the same things all the time. I have my routines. So, I'm always, I still believe I'm a beginner, and I'm still always trying to learn every day. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I have my instinct, like I said, and I'm going to bring the best version of me that day. Every fight, you can prepare all you want for a certain fight or a certain opponent, and everything can go out the window. It all depends on what happens in the moment. So I try not to overthink and plan too much, and just react to what happens. And I'm very lucky. I'll be with my coach, Professor Daniel Gracie, which gives me a lot of security because he's been in Pride, he's been in the IFL, he's been in Bellator, he's been around fighting his whole life. So I pretty much just have to be like a robot while he just moves a joystick, And very few people have the conditioning, mindset, the health, and the physical attributes that I have. So I know that if I put my best game forward, we'll see how his best game matches against my best game.
Yeah, a lot of people in Asia and people that follow One Championship have been wondering where you have been. They've been waiting for you to come back. I've been talking
Yeah.
to many people. They're all like, "Where is Ariel? What is he doing? Why is he not fighting?" But now you're actually returning, which is a good thing, for the division and for the promotion and for the fans of One Championship. One last question: leading up to your preparations or during your preparations in your camp, I read that you watch a lot of comedies to keep you
Yeah.
kind of relaxed and loose. What are some of the comedies that you're watching, or what comedy do you go to? Like, hey, I could watch this like 100 times.
Well, it was one of the sports psychology books I read years ago that mentioned that during the time of the LA Dodgers, when they won a lot of pennants and a lot of world championships, that Tommy Lasorda, the head coach, he would have a stand-up comedian in the locker room, and he would be making fun of everybody, and everybody would just be laughing and laughing and laughing, and it would release endorphins, So you don't want to be overthinking. It's very common to get to wherever you're going stressed out because you're overthinking something, mentally fatigued. So the idea is that you just watch stuff that makes you laugh, releasing endorphins. So watching stand-up comedy is always fun because those guys they have a spotlight on them, and if they don't make someone laugh, they get booed and they get thrown off. So I try to put myself in their shoes. I'm like, man, this is a hard job. And then all the comedies. I love Jim Carrey movies. I love Will Ferrell movies. I'll try to find comedies. Just kind of make me relax and just laugh and not think about anything. But then again, I also like to watch, like Vikings and Game of Thrones and that kind of mystical medieval stuff as well, to give you that adventure feel, and just to get, because the daily grind as an athlete it can get pretty intense. You're talking a lot, you're training a lot, you're sweating a lot. There's little things can get on your nerves. So as long as you're cool and calm, and you have that amazing poker face all the time, you can kind of come back and then recharge. So you have to recharge somehow. A lot of the times I'll use nature to recharge. So I'll go out in nature, or I'll go swimming, or whatever it may be. It's pretty nice.
All right, one championship, Quest for Gold, Myanmar, February 23rd. Ariel Sexton versus Ev Ting. Thank you for
It
your
is.
time, and hopefully we'll be doing this again.
Thank you very much for having me. Can you do me a favor and just connect the interview with my social media? So my social media is Tarzan CR, Tarzan Costa Rica, on Twitter, on Instagram, and I have a fan page on Facebook, Ariel Tarzan Sexton. So part of this is being popular through social media. So any contacts you have, if you want to be my friend, I will also be your friend. Throw that out there in the interview. The more people that get to see me and understand and see how I work and how hard I work, they're going to want to support, and that's what we do. We need support. We can't do this alone. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Quest for Gold, and you guys are going to have a exciting fight of the year. I guarantee it.